Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to the Radical Race Series 2022 Season number 2, Round 8, here at the world-famous Silverstone circuit. My name is Daniel Handover, and joining me in the commentary box once again is Mr. Ewan O'Leary. Ewan, you weren't here with us last week at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. We did have some very, very exciting racing, but I imagine it's good to be back for a round such as Silverstone.
Yeah, it's always good to be back at the Radical Race Series here for another week, and Silverstone is a great circuit indeed. I think it's really going to suit these cars as well, obviously with the new configuration of this layout, if we can still call it new, in force today. The sweeping first few turns here are really going to suit the characteristics of this Radical with its high downforce nature. And so, yeah, looking forward to this and seeing how this race goes this evening.
Certainly so. Well, it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. Qualifying is currently underway, but before we do that, let's have a quick look at the championship standings. They have certainly taken, once again, another turn. So Simon Edwards now leads the way with 202 points, but Martin Booker, though, hot on his heels with 193, and then John Hutchison even closer to Booker with 190. There's a bit of a gap between Hutchison and Paul Crabb, but he's in 4th. Dave Kirkman, P5, having a very, very good season. Paul Clark in 6th. Colin Wynn is 7th, Sergio Martinez de la Cruz in 8th, currently in the standings with Bus and P9, and then Martina Ward in P10. But again, very, very close across that midfield. You have a look at that. Anywhere from, Dave Kirkman all the way down, you could argue, to Phil Glover. Only 50 points, 55, 60 points. And with 6 rounds or so to go, that's still quite a considerable amount of points that can be gained or lost.
Yeah, there certainly is obviously 40 for a win around here, and if you're outside the top 5, it's a point per position as well. So it does lend itself to being very close outside of the top 5 in the championship, as you're seeing there. But what's also changed in the last few weeks and has been developing after John McCutcheon's fantastic start to the season, his championship lead has been falling away after 2 non-starts in this season now. He's dropped to 12 points behind Simon Edwards. Of course, Edwards and Booker have got to factor in their drop weeks yet, which is going to drop them behind McCutcheon, you'd imagine. But that does put the pressure on the former championship leader, because it means that he can't really have any bad race results from here on in, because they will count towards his score.
This is a very, very true point, actually. Very, very good point raised there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Drop rounds do come into effect, and really, it's just got to be something that, as you say, Mark Hutchison hasn't really got that many options. He unfortunately isn't actually here today either. So this is going to make the job even harder when he does return. Obviously, which we are very much looking forward to his return. A couple of adjustments to the qualifying. As you can see, qualifying is underway, and it is no longer a closed qualifying format. It's now an open qualifying format. A track like this doesn't really make too much of a difference, depending on where you are in the circuit, in all honesty. If you're with someone, so for the likes of Graham Brown and Paul Clark, Graham Brown, we're getting a marginal tow. It's not all that much, in all honesty, but something's better than nothing. But yeah, an open qualifying format makes things a little bit more interesting. And again, I just feel it just provides the spectators a little bit more things going on, considering you've got now all of the cars out on circuit all at once.
Yeah, we certainly do, and that doesn't really, as you say, it doesn't really change things here. Looking ahead in the schedule, though, next week at Lime Rock Park is going to be an absolute nightmare for everybody to get a lap time in, because that is a short circuit, a very, very short circuit, and there's going to be a lot of traffic in that qualifying session. Looking to a little bit later on as well, or indeed the week after that, at the Monza GP circuit without the first chicane. My goodness, that's going to be a jockey for position and a real fight to get that slipstream, but as you say, not too much of a factor around here due to the relative lack of straights that there are, especially compared to Monza, which we'll see in 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely. Times are now starting to fly in. Simon Edwards has just taken that top spot, but are we going to see Mike Busson? There he is. Is he going to take the top spot off of Simon Edwards? A 1:53.071 is the time to beat at the moment. Is Busson going to do it? He doesn't, but only by a fraction. Look at that, less than a tenth of a second. Now puts Mike Busson in P2. Paul LeMay has actually got the fastest Sector 1. So keep an eye on what Paul LeMay is going to be able to do. Sergio Martinez de la Cruz as well. Qualify for him didn't go as planned last time out. Is it going to be better this time? as he goes through the finds. He goes through club for the final time for this particular lap. He's got one more lap to go. Is this going to be, where's it been? It puts him in P11 at the moment, so a banker lap at least. There's something on the board. It's very, very close within these intervals as well. Have a look at that. You know, you've got, once again, as we have seen, that mid-pack, it's still very, very close. It's around between P4 and Darryl Taylor and P9. There's only about, what's that? So 0.6 of a second, but that gap is very much going to come down. I'm intrigued to see what Paul Lemay is able to do here. His first time didn't actually count, so it wasn't put onto the standings. And I just wonder if that's going to put him maybe on the back foot. He may have a slightly more conservative approach to this one. Colin Wynn's just gone in there. Look at that, the 52.957. I didn't even see that there. So Colin Wynn just goes a tenth faster than Simon Edwards. But we've got some more times coming in. What does Paul Lemay do? And you know what? I don't know. His second lap hasn't counted either. Unfortunately, the second lap has not counted. Such a shame there. So 2 out of 2 that do not count. I mean, well, what's going to happen here? Dave Kurtman, he's just going to come across the line now. We've then also got Simon Edwards. He's not going to be too far behind as well. You can just see there is Simon Edwards there. What's he's going to be able to do? So Dave Kurtman goes up into P5. Damien G's in P12. You can see that. Is Simon Edwards going to take top spot again? He does by 0.4 of a second. So whenever you think that someone's just about to pip Simon Edwards to the top standings, he just goes and pulls another 0.3 out of it, which is pretty staggering there. But Mike Buston, once again, even closer this time. Look at that, only 0.06 of a second between the two.
Yeah, very, very close indeed. It's hardly surprising to see those two doing quite so well up towards the front, it has to be said, because they are such good drivers and they often find themselves up towards the front there. But Simon Edwards on provisional pole at the moment. Not sure how long we've quite got left at this stage, but it can't be long for these guys now. We just need to continue to wind it up, really, as we've seen throughout these qualifying sessions so far. You just need to keep getting faster and faster, keep churning out the laps, and you will eventually reach the peak there at the end of this qualifying session. So, yeah, just need to keep going for the last 2 minutes or so, and then we'll see where we're at. But yeah, those who miss out on those final lap times will drop down the order, as Dave Kirkman is going to find out over the next few minutes.
Well, absolutely, yeah. P7, he's on his out lap, so he will get one more flyer in. He's got to be well, minimal mistakes at all. A spin like that could very well put him out. So he is going, interesting enough, I think he's the only person that's actually made a pit stop to go and get some fresh tyres. So the only person that's currently gone in the pits and then come back out again. So this may play into the hands of Dave Curtin. We'll have to see. What does Phil Jocelyn do for his third and final lap? He moves up a position, so he overtakes Richard Brown, but Richard Brown is only a couple of corners behind. In fact, there he is coming out of club. Is he going to improve? Is he going to take that position back from Phil Jocelyn? Have to see as he comes across the line. Does he improve? And he does. Wow, what an improvement that is there from Richard Brown. Goes up into P9. So a fair few positions made up there. So that was absolutely fantastic. I've just seen as well, correct me if I'm wrong here, do I see Paul Lemay with a 52.513? I believe I do. I don't think you've actually seen that time. Simon Edwards. Oh, Mike Busson's just pipped both Simon Edwards and Paul Lemay. So Paul Lemay, of what I thought was going to be a pole position, unfortunately, he's just been snatched away by Mike Busson. What that does mean, though, bear in mind, is Mike Busson, they won't get another lap in. Neither will Paul Lemay, neither will Simon Edwards. So, and in fact, actually, apologies. So Simon Edwards will finish this lap. Paul Lemay won't. Mike Busson will also be able to finish his lap, I believe. We'll have to wait and see, though, how this qualifying plays out. 'Cause there's a couple of different ways you can approach these rules. Sometimes at the 10 minutes, it completely cuts and that's it. Or the session may allow drivers to finish the lap. We'll find out in less than a minute. But what a performance from Paul Lemay.
Yeah, great performance from Paul Lemay. You've got to remember that while he didn't have a lap time on the board, he was still out there putting out lap times. He must have just got an off track on his first two. So while he didn't get a time on the board and a banker in, which might have made him a bit nervous on that lap, he did still have the tyres in the right window. He was still winding it up like we keep talking about in these qualifying sessions. He was still getting faster and faster, despite the times not actually going on the board. So it's not too much of a surprise, although it does always look strange when somebody goes straight to the top this late in a qualifying session. Mike Busson, though, looks like he's done a little bit better. And Simon Edwards, as I said earlier on, anyone who doesn't get that final lap time in is going to pay for it. And Simon Edwards is right now missing out on this pole position by very fine margins as the 10 minutes comes to a close. Well, the finest of margins, we've always seen these fine margins, haven't we? They never seem to really
They never really seem to get any smaller. In fact, sorry, they get smaller, but they don't really seem to get any bigger. We are going to be running down, so people will be able to finish their laps here. Sergio Martinez de la Cruz goes up into 7th. I've just seen him, but Paul Clark straight away takes that position. Simon Edwards goes across the line, but does not improve his time. So that will be him done. Where does Mike Busson go? Does he extend that pole position time? No, he does not. Dropped off a couple of tenths there, so he will not be making any improvements further. Well, sorry, I say improvements, not in terms of position, but in terms of time. Dave Kurtman, though, this is it. Though, does this pit stop play out? I'll try saying that a few times. I will be interested to see. The tyres don't normally switch on for at least a couple of laps, so it'll be interesting to see what Dave Kurtman can do. He's got one more corner to go. Is it going to be a time that puts him? He only needs to make a couple of tenths. No, it is not. It drops a couple of tenths there, so he will not be improving his lap. Couple more drivers yet to finish. Richard Brown being one of them, must have crossed the line just as the clock ticked over. So he's only got a couple more corners to go. Colin Wynn, he's just about to come across the line, actually. In fact, there is Colin Wynn. Well, he's sitting in P6. Again, a very, very good performance. I'm enjoying this new format. It's certainly shaped things up a bit, which I really, really do enjoy. Does Colin Wynn improve on his time? No, he does not, but it's very, very close, though. What is Richard Brown going to do? Last driver to come across the line. Does he improve? And I don't think he does. No, he does not. So, your full grid for today's race. Mike Busson taking that pole position with Paul LeMay in P2. Simon Edwards in 3rd. Paul Crabb takes 4th. Graham Brown in 5th with Colin Wynn taking P6. Paul Clark in 7th. Sergio Martinez de la Cruz in P8 with Michael LeMay 9th. Martin Booker P10. Richard Brown P11. Dave Kurtman in P12. Martina Ward taking P13 with Darrell Taylor in 14th. Phil Jocelyn 15th on the grid with Damien G P16. Graham Brown 17th. Guy Robertson P18. Phil Glover in 19th. And then Scott Lear in P20 with both Phil Glover and Scott Lear not having set a time for the qualifying. Predictions. Now, I can imagine you, and it's very, very hard to predict. I definitely think this open qualifying format has shaken things up a bit, and I certainly think it's actually for the good. I really enjoy this. I enjoyed that new format there.
Yeah, it was certainly a little bit better than solo qualifying. I think it just makes it a little bit more real, really. But I don't think in terms of the order things would have been much different, really. It's hard to say. Simon Edwards being down in 3rd as opposed to on pole, where we do see him very often, is maybe a little bit of a surprise. But really, the order is largely the same as to what it would have been. I think over the next 2 weeks at Lime Rock at Monza, we really are going to see differences in the order compared to what we've seen previously. Because of on the first of those occasions, there's going to be no track space, and the second of those who get the slipstream obviously will benefit greatly.
Certainly so. Very, very true. Lights are about to come on. Who is going to take an early lead into turn 1? Who gets a good start? It seems to be even at the front, though. A couple of stragglers, though. It looked like Sergio Martinez de la Cruz. No, it's Paul Clark that didn't get a particularly good run down into turn 1. Side by side already. That's between Paul LeMay and Paul Crabb. They're going to go side by side down into turn 1, down into turn 2. And also down into turn 3 perhaps as well. Late on the brakes there for Paul Crabb, and he makes the position. He's on the inside for turn 4. What a good position there. Fair play indeed. There's a couple more drivers that are side by side as well. There may have even been a spin. I think it's Dave Kurtman, Colin Wynn's gone around, Darrell Taylor, Martin Booker. A lot of drivers have been caught up in some incidents there. Still people off as well. I think it was Martinez de la Cruz that was having a moment going through turn 4. It's already kicked off though. The gaps are still relatively close together. Although again, there's plenty of time to go. Let's certainly not count that out at all. So 16 laps of this circuit. Oh gee, we've got several hundred different gap positions there. We don't really want to be showing you that. That is much better there, much cleaner. So yeah, some of the gaps have opened up though, but all in all, pretty clean start from everyone.
Relatively clean, yeah. Obviously there was a couple of those spins down at the 4th corner of this race, and Martin Booker seems to have been a casualty of one of those. 2nd place in the championship coming into today. Let's see what happened. Colin Wynn was involved as well. Outside line into 4 and just gets things wrong on his own. Goes for a spin, but unfortunately that one of the race, a lot of those are going to be involved in it because of the amount of cars coming towards you at that stage. I think that Martin Booker may have been involved, and there he is. He did get clipped by Colin Wynn. rolling backwards on the circuit. Not a lot that Booker could have done there coming in today, as I mentioned, in second in the championship, and this is going to hurt him because Simon Edwards did get a good start from third, already up to second.
Absolutely, yeah, certainly not, as you say, Martin Booker, that's really, really going to hurt him in the championship, but still a long way to go, though. Side by side, Martina Ward, Martinez de la Cruz, and it's going to be Cruz that takes that position for the moment. So a bit of side-by-side battling. Martina Ward was initially ahead, but I think that, although possibly still may, there's yet to be some position swaps. Let's not count that out just yet. Paul May, yes, it dropped the position. Didn't have the best of starts on going down into turn 1, and the problem is you're flat out through turn 1 all the way down into turn 3, which is the first braking zone. So anything like that, you've got a fair while actually before you actually have to hit the brakes. So that didn't help the situation, I don't think, for Paul LeMay, but he's still holding his own. He's half a second down, 7/10 down even, on Paul Crabb up the road. So a lot still yet to come here for this. A little bit further down the order, though, there's still a bit of battling, one of which being Phil Glover, Colin Wynn as well. They're having a nice good old battle, obviously, after Colin Wynn's spin out on lap 1, having dropped 11 positions, starting P6. So he is definitely looking to make some moves and try and get further through the field. I imagine, again, as it's happened quite early on, there's still some time to make up, certainly. And there would definitely be some positions to make up as well. So don't expect to see Colin Wynn hovering around at that P17, P16. He's going to be still aiming, I reckon, for a top 10.
Yeah, this has got to be the aim, to at least get up the order as much as possible, really, for any of these guys. A little bit further down, having a little bit of a look into Maggots and Beckett's there. Always a risky one. And off the road for Glover, and off the road again. Very difficult to get back onwards. You're off through here. It's one corner comes after the other, and if you get the first wrong, then you're in for a very difficult time, and unfortunately drops down to 18th position. There does Glover, which is a shame to see. But yeah, Colin Wynn looking to climb his way back through the order once again. Not sure whether he's going to be able to that efficiently, because if you look at some of the gaps on the left-hand side, some of them already opening up, even at the end of lap 2 here, some of them already opening up into more than a second, which is not going to be ideal, because it's not just the overtaking that has to be done here, but closing gaps as well.
It's a fair point, actually, to note. It was actually a very, very good positioning there from Colin Wynn. You notice that as he went into the corner, he did go for a little bit of a look and then waited. So he compromised Phil Glover's, actually compromised the line going into Maggots. And I think ultimately he may have just got a little bit too hot in there, which then ultimately gave Colin Wynn the position. So he put the car where he needed it and then actually backed out of it, which I thought was quite interesting. So fair enough, fair play. Certainly something that a tactic that can usually try and upset the person in front, and sometimes it does indeed pay off. Have a look at this though nearer the front. Mike Person is pulling out, is he not? I wouldn't say a lead. I'm not going to say a lead yet, but he just seems. I don't know. It's tricky. He's got no one ahead of him, so he hasn't got any draft or slipstream or anything. So that is going to be hurting. I'm just noticing like Paul Crabb he's almost on the back of Simon Evans to the point where Evans, if he's at a tiny little moment there, he's going to have to start defending very, very heavily.
Edwards doesn't quite look as strong as some of the others in this group, it has to be said there. The gap opening up to Busson just a little bit. Paul Crabb just behind, of course, Edwards and Crabb, the only two-time champions in this Radical Race series. The both of them tied for the most championships each, but Crabb certainly looks the stronger of the two at the moment, especially earlier on in the lap. He was really threatening to go back to just outside the top 10. Phil Jocelyn is trying to hold off Sergio De La Cruz and Martina Ward here for the final place inside the top 10. Or nobody's going to be able to make a move into Stowe on this occasion. But yeah, the leading battle especially, as well as this one, very close, remaining very close over these opening 3 laps.
Certainly is. What's happening here? Is it going to be another Martinez de la Cruz special going through Club? It is indeed. Going through Club and Vale, that is a very, very good position. A very good move done there for Martinez de la Cruz, although Phil Jocelyn did give him the space, no more, no less. Squeezed him as much as he realistically could, but there had to have come a time where you would have given up that position. Martina Ward's going to have a little bit of a look now. Phil's taking a slightly offensive line. Let's give him a moment through turn 4. It's always a tricky one there. Turn 4 is always the deceiving one. If you leave, it's such a wide corner, it's such a slow corner as well, that people do have a tendency to try and send it up the inside there. It doesn't happen all the time, but it certainly does happen. I believe that's Dave Kirkman, and it is Dave Kirkman and Richard Brown having a really, really good battle here as well. The gap only being a couple of tenths apart. And just, again, keep an eye on that gap up front. That gap between Paul Cram and Simon Edwards is now only 0.2 of a second. Someone's had a moment. Who was... Oh, can't quite tell who that is. Could it just be a back marker? I think that may be... maybe Phil Glover.
Phil Glover, yeah.
Oh,
and he's actually had a spin there, or a half spin at Cops, which is not ideal. But yeah, Phil Glover is a lap down, the only car a lap down that's still running. Martin Booker is out the race indeed as well at the moment, unfortunately. So yeah, that looks like to be Glover as Crab continues to apply the pressure here up towards Stowe. Although very good straight line speed there from Simon Edwards. You saw the on-board shot there with Crab in the slipstream. You'd expect him to be sizing up a move, but he really couldn't get anywhere near down the straight there. Very low wings it looks like for Simon Edwards on this occasion here. And Paul Crab's going to have a very difficult time, I think, because he has the downforce, but that is going to make life very difficult in terms of overtaking, and staying in front as well is going to be equally difficult.
It's a fair point, actually. I mean, Simon Edwards, he loves doing this. He always seems to have the quickest car in a straight line. You know, him, John Hutchinson, Mike Buston normally tends to have a pretty fast car as well. It's the downforce certainly can help, but a place like Lime Rock Park, I would imagine that the higher downforce will be working. But somewhere like here, again, it's quite an open circuit. It's quite a wide circuit and a large circuit for a car like this, even though they're very, very fast. By, certainly can't know how fast they are by any stretch of the imagination. They're very, very quick. They're not massively fast, they're not massively fast, I suppose, compared to what the likes of GT3 car in a straight line. So, a slipstream is quite powerful, and the lower downforce, it does give you that additional speed. So a track like this, which is very, very large, the lower downforce could very well be playing a factor in it. And you can see that gap between Buston and Edwards. It's come right down, and in fact, it's opened up between Paul Crab. So, the pace, Paul Crab certainly does have the pace, although maybe the consistency-wise, and maybe how the tyres are also lasting, how they're able to manage tyres, could now be perhaps in the favour. It's only been 5 laps, but could be in the favour of Simon Edwards.
It certainly could be. Although when you are on a lower downforce setup, the tyre wear does seem to be a little bit worse because you tend to be sliding around just that little bit more. Wasn't a great run through Baggots and Beckett's there for Paul Crab, so Paul LeMay could have his opportunity here, but it doesn't look like he's going to. Up towards Stowe, Simon Edwards as well, pressuring Booston and trying to head down the inside, but can't on this occasion once again, and everybody has to wait in line.
As you say, everyone now waiting once again with bated breath to see. Simon Edwards did drop back a little bit there, actually. 0.8 of a second, the gap opened up. All of a sudden, Paul Crab is there. Oh, I have a feeling that Simon Edwards got a bit of a slowdown, perhaps. Maybe on the exit. Let's try to think where he would have got a slowdown. I didn't quite know where that was. Perhaps that was close. That was close. That was a little bit too close for comfort, I think, for Graham Brown. He would have wanted to have tried to get past. Couldn't quite make the move there. Guy Robertson, we're just seeing, has had an incident. You can see on the Delta there, he's dropped right back down the order as well. And got a gap for around about 7 seconds. We're going to come back to this battle in a few moments, but another battle that is going on. Martina Ward at the inside of Phil Jocelyn. This is a move that's happening for a while. Couldn't quite make it stick those, and once again has to stay behind, but this has now brought Graham Brown and Darrell Taylor into the mix as well. So this has certainly made things a little bit interesting for the guys here. 4-way battle now from Phil Jocelyn all the way to Darrell Taylor, but don't also count out Colin Wynn. He's only 1.7 seconds behind. That was a bit wide there from Graham Brown. Is that going to be a move, perhaps? No. Graham Brown through Luffield. He's got the inside line, and no matter how much downforce you got, it's very, very hard to keep that move on the outside. So Darrell Taylor has to concede, albeit for a brief moment, though, because you know what? I think he's actually got the position. We're being obstructed by the buildings, but if we go back to the TV cams, there we are. It's going to be side by side between Darrell Taylor and Graham Brown. It is going to be Darrell Taylor that maintains that position as it stands at the moment.
For now, yeah. For now, I was going to say, because Graham Brown was looking to come back in maybe into Maggots and Beckett, but wasn't able to, as Simon Edwards gets back through on Paul LeMay. That didn't take very long at all. I don't think it was a slowdown this time at last lap also. It was just a running wide, I think, really, from Edwards. And so he lost out on those 2 places. But as I said, it's going to be very difficult to keep him behind. Bousson is managing it at the moment, just about matching him, or was earlier on. But Everybody else finding it very difficult because of the low downforce setup that Edwards is employing here. There's not a lot you can do on the straights. As Edwards is proving, in the corners, you can obviously do things to defend with your lines and whatever, but on the straights, you just full throttle. There's not a lot you can do at all. So Paul LeMay had no defence at all there, and Simon Edwards is up to third place.
Nearly halfway through this race. It doesn't take long to tick down, does it? This is one of the it's with Silverstone again being such a big circuit, it seems like it takes a little bit longer, but obviously the laps are less. The time will be running the same. Something's happened. I think something's happened to Phil Jocelyn, if I'm not mistaken. It just seems that, in fact, what's happened to Paul Crabb? Paul Crabb's had a moment as well. Paul Crabb has gone very, very slow. Is he going to get possibly overtaken by Graham Brown as well? No, Graham Brown decides against it. That was interesting. Maybe a little bit of a wiggle going through. That does allow Simon Evans to then move up back into second position. So he's now got 1.5 seconds to catch up. So he hasn't got very long. Let's see what happened to... We've got a couple of replays to have a look at here. Well, we've got a small bit of downtime. Phil Glover being one of them. This is what happened to Phil Glover. This was a couple of laps ago. Oh, just swaps around in Magus and Beckett. Tricky. Again, you've got lots of weight transfer, and it can actually it can overtake you a little bit. It can overtake you surprisingly quickly if you're not careful. Guy Robertson, could it be a bit of rotation on the brakes, perhaps? And maybe a bit of both. Maybe actually the brake release probably, I would have guessed, caused that to go around then. And then what happened to Phil Jocelyn? Let's just have another quick look at this. Oh, was there a bit of a tap? Oh, there was a tap. There was a... Oh, okay, that's one way to... that's certainly one way to, unfortunately, to have an incident. Yeah, that was a bit of an interesting one. Just looked like the door closed, at least from that camera angle, it looked like this door just closed down for some... camera angle was a bit deceiving. But that was obviously what happened there. So, couple more... Like I said, we are actually just hitting on the halfway mark now. That halfway mark coming through, and it is, I can see, have a look, Simon Evans has already pulled a couple of tenths out of Mike Busson. So, it's a tall order, don't get me wrong. 1.5 seconds when you're close on time, it's tricky to do, and you've only got 8 laps to do it now, or 7.5 laps to do it. It's a tricky task.
Yeah, it is to do anything in this field, really. So when you get to this point in the race, we're deep into it now, and the gaps are starting to open up. You just look at the gap between Sergio De La Cruz and Darrell Taylor there, and you really are going to struggle to bridge that gap in the time remaining. So think about the likes of Colin Wynn, who went for that spin on the first lap. It's very tricky from here as he tries to go around the outside of Darrell Taylor into Copse. Not going to work through there, and might have been better off staying behind, because now he's coming under pressure from the 2 cars behind.
As you say, certainly so. Yeah, pressure. Pressure. I wouldn't like to be in the middle of this. Not gonna lie. As much as I love a bit of a battle, the stakes are certainly high here. Something happened there to Paul Clark. I think Paul Clark may have had a small connection issue. So unfortunately, that didn't look particularly. That's why the timing tower had a bit of a moment there. But this is the battle to watch out for. The gaps have extended a little bit up top, so this is certainly the battle to be involved in. It's getting ever close. It's not... I wouldn't say it's getting closer, but the tension is getting higher. And what will happen is much the same as, the elastic band. You keep putting it under tension, then all of a sudden, you'll break. Now, we may not see that. We have seen it in the past where all of these... And these drivers are very, very experienced. All of them have been in the series for several races and multiple seasons. It's very, very hard to get to that point where the elastic band snaps, but even a small little mistake here, Ewan, really, really puts you on the back foot, especially when you're this close and the timings are this close as well. So, for example, Colin Wynn, a small brake lock-up, so that could potentially be 2, even 3 positions lost.
Yeah, it's very easy to lose a lot of positions here, because as you can see, there's trains forming everywhere. As we see down the inside here, possibly Graham Brown coming under a lot of pressure, but not getting overtaken just for the moment. It's always difficult into Brooklands, really. Not a very long straight there, the Wellington straight, and not a very long braking zone either into a relatively fast corner. All the recipes for not an overtake there, unfortunately, and Graham Brown does hold on to that place. But yeah, you're right, these trains are forming, and if you step out of line, then you could find yourself dropping down the line very, very quickly.
Yes, absolutely. Certainly true. Martina Ward has had an incident, so we can get a replay of that in a few moments. And in fact, actually, Colin Wynn has had a... Oh, that was close. You know what? I think Colin Wynn's got it. Colin Wynn's just made that move on Darrell Taylor. Looked like he was going into Maggots. We need to see that, because that would have been one hell of an overtake. So let's see if we can get a replay of that. Although first off, though, Martinez de la Cruz just gets past. That's just getting, or briefly getting past Michael LeMay, but Michael LeMay's fighting straight back. Are we going to see another signature move from Martinez de la Cruz once again? Well, he tries to do it though, but he's finally met his match. Michael LeMay is not letting him have it that easy. There's contact between the two. Oh dear, it's just a gap. Two cars do not fit into one when you go through final corner. It's so tricky. It all tightens up and it closes up really fast. Even a car like this with high downforce, it is tricky. It's very tricky to go through and actually to. That was such a shame. I mean, in all honesty, I didn't actually swap positions all in all. I think Michael LeMay may have suffered a bit of damage to that car, and Martinez de la Cruz does ultimately make the overtake, but certainly not in the way that he would have wanted. And that does mean, though, it's good for Colin Wynn, Darrell Taylor, and the like, because they've got a couple more cars that they can now get involved with.
They're certainly all under a lot of pressure now because of Colin Wynn and company's presence at the moment. This is Martina Ward a little bit early on. I think it's going to be a spin through turn 4, which has become very tricky. We saw it with Colin Wynn on the very first lap. The rear end there, as you're diving into that slow speed hairpin, really unloaded, and so you can spin around quite easily. This is what happened to Sergio de la Cruz and Michael LeMay. Does anybody do anything here? Oh dear, very difficult to really call there. They look like they kind of met in the middle because Michael LeMay looks like he was coming across a little bit to get to the corner, obviously. Sergio de la Cruz drifting a little bit wide, maybe. Oh, it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
It's only a slight bit of contact, really. And yeah, it's one of those things that can happen, especially at the final corner here. So yeah, wouldn't be able to really pin that on anyone in particular.
Yeah. Oh, Graham Brown had a bit of contact there with Paul Crabb. Do you know what? I mean, if you can get a replay of that one again, I don't know. It looked like Paul Crabb. We need a replay on that to get our perspective on it. Again, our perspective, rightly or wrongly, everyone's got to be interested to review another couple of replays for that. So it's all starting to. Again, it's not unraveling per se, but it's all everyone's starting to make a couple of more moves, a couple more opportunities here and there. They're just trying to dive every now and again. So they're trying to. They're finding their feet, I think, in a way that, they're trying to find their feet, and they're getting a little bit more. I suppose really they're just getting a little bit more aggressive when it actually comes to. It's getting now to that final stage of the race. We're in the final third of the race, in fact. So it is getting tension to start to rise, and opportunities may present themselves a little bit more. Well, that was Paul Crabb that went a bit wide. Paul Crabb went very wide there going through Luffield.
I'm not sure if he's redressing the position there because the two of them did make contact
Perhaps,
at the final chicane. So did he start to feel bad about it and start to let that position go again? We'll see now who was at fault, or we might not. We'll wait and see. Paul Crabb definitely down the inside. Oh, I can't say he did a lot wrong there,
no.
Really. Once again, one of those that was not really anybody's fault. I wouldn't have said anybody did anything particularly wrong there. So, yeah, Crabb just being very nice, really, and relinquishing the position once more.
Well, I think when it comes to a battle like that, I mean, again, it's a league at the end of the day. It's a friendly league. It's supposed to be there to have fun and good sportsmanship all round. But yeah, I mean, I said personally, I don't think there was really anything wrong that any driver did, but good sportsmanship to see nevertheless. Dave Kirkman has just passed Paul Clark, so he has just gone through. Let's see if we can actually. I mean, the overtake looked like it either happened going out the exit of Stone. I'll tell you why it happened, because Paul Clark went wide. So that would be why. So the move was gifted to him going through Stone. We did see Kirkman Paul Clark try and, for a brief moment, try and take that position or try and retake the position and fight the position, but quite work out how he would have wanted it. Paul Crabb goes a little bit wide. That's going to allow, Graham Brown goes a bit wide. That's going to allow Paul Crabb once again to go past. There was certainly a position that he won't give back this time, because that was absolutely nothing that he did there at all. There was no contact. It was just Graham Brown getting a bit too early on the throttle on the exit of turn 4, and it just picks the car up and it just pushes it along. It's very, very easy to do. It's turn 4 again. It's deceiving. You think it opens up quicker than it actually does. And it's a big, big problem if you get it wrong. Because as soon as you get two wheels on the exit, on the grass, it just pulls you wide and it sucks you out to the outside. And it's very, very difficult to get the car back there. But Paul Grab capitalising on that mistake. He's got a bit of damage on the rear, though. I imagine that would have been from the bit of contact he had a couple of laps ago. So, once again, roles have been reversed. Graham Brown loses a bit of time. You see he goes a bit wide going through Maggots, and he's going to probably be 6/10 down by the end of this, 7/10 down by the end of, half a second down by the end of Maggots and Beckett. It's amazing that one corner wrong, one slight bit of movement off that racing line going through Maggots and Beckett, you've lost 2/10, maybe 2.5 tenths.
Yeah, one corner, as I said earlier, one corner really does lead into another. So getting the first one wrong, and you really are in trouble. Paul Crabb there really trying very hard to break the slipstream on the way down to the final chicane as well. Took a very long line through that final little straight towards the chicane, but there we are. He's still in 4th place. Go a little bit further back to Colin Wynne, who is back inside the top 10 once more after that great qualifying performance and a spin on the first lap. All of a sudden, he is back inside the top 10 again. This may be the limit for him, though. Look at the gap between Sergio de la Cruz up front. This is how he got up into the position, though, is it? Into Maggots and Beckett. So
that was actually earlier on. That was earlier on, passing Darrell Taylor. Yeah. So that was been for P11. There's only been one overtake since then. And yeah, it was just capitalising on a small little mistake there from Darrell Taylor early on the exit, actually, of Cox. And just sent it through, absolutely sent it down into... just sent it down into Maggots and just made it stick. But he is now on the heels of Sergio Martinez de la Cruz. That's a spin for someone. Who is that? I think that's Graham Brown.
Yeah.
Graham Brown has had another issue. We're going to see if we can get... so I'm sure we'll get a replay of that in a second. But yeah, Colin Wynne, next person inside. And yeah, realistically, there's going to be one more position potentially in it for Wynne, and then that will be it. There's a 12.5 second gap. If you can take 12.5 seconds in the next 2.5 laps, I will be mighty impressed. I doubt that is going to happen though, but again, let us not say anything. We'll wait till everyone crosses the line. Let's see what happened to Graham Brown. Does he just get on the throttle a little bit too aggressively? Does he tap a wheel on the grass? Tap a wheel on the grass. Again, that's the other thing that can happen. Either you get pulled out wide and there's nothing you can do about it, you have to wait for ages, or the car will just switch back round on you and that'll be it. So that was actually the earlier incident with Graham Brown there, so we won't need to observe that again. Yeah, 50-50 what happens there if you get a wheel on the grass, and unfortunately it was the latter that cost him more time.
Yeah, unfortunately it was. As we look at this battle still between Sergio de la Cruz and Colin Wynne once more, a couple of mistakes starting to creep in up and down the field. There have been a few here today, but most of them car on car, it has to be said. Not many incidents on your own, as side by side for the lead. All of a sudden, Simon Edwards has been waiting for his moment, and he's now chosen it to try and make a move on Mike Buston, but not able to do it. He's only left himself 3 laps to go as well.
He's got the run, though. He's got the run going through Corps. They just about touch. So this is where it's going to benefit Simon Evans. He's got, look at that, he's just pace, absolute pace. They got on the same throttle at the same time. Bear in mind, Mike Buston was ahead going on the exit, or pretty much ahead by half a car length, going into, on the exit of Luffield. And now the gap is already 0.3 of a second down. So Simon Edwards, for everybody, caught up a second and a half. And now he's got back, but this is where Mike Buston will make the time up. Through Maggots and Beckett, you can see the extra downforce working for him. And I don't think, although there may be... Look at that, someone else just pulling away. He's pulling away and Mike Buston's got the slipstream.
Yeah, this is what we observed a little bit earlier on with a battle a little bit further down the order. Edwards was not overtaken by anybody, basically, because of his straight line speed, which has made things very, very difficult for everybody. As we go back once again to the battle for ninth, because Colin Wynne is still struggling to make this move by the looks of things. Simon Edwards, though, has chosen his moment expertly and up to first position with only 2 laps to go.
Absolutely. I'd say what Mike Buston's going to be really, really. I can imagine the frustration in there for Buston. It might not be too bad, though, to be fair. He's left the majority of the race, and there's still all possibilities, though. Whoa! Martinez de la Cruz, you see that moment there? Wow, are we going to see, though? Are we going to hang around the outside? Of course he's going to hang around the outside. Nothing at the moment that Darrell Taylor can do. In fact, no, he's already ahead. 0.3 of a second. That was a massive moment. A great cameraing actually to catch that on, interestingly enough. So, yeah, really, really, certainly something that I don't think a lot of people would have caught that. So, fair play indeed. What that does do, though, naturally, is release Colin Wynne. The gap obviously being 14 seconds ahead to Richard Brown. That's not going to make too much of a difference. That's not going to worry him in the slightest there. But Martinez de la Cruz, unfortunately, losing out on 3 positions because of that.
Yeah, these guys are in trains at the moment, especially down in this order, this place in the order, and so yeah, that does mean that you will lose places in very short order. And it wasn't even that big of a mistake really for Stowe, just starting to lose the rear end as he got on the power there, and had to do a fairly good save, it has to be said, but it still lost him a few places. Darrell Taylor just briefly drops out there, gets back in fortunately, and this battle up front does not look like it's going in the favour of Mike Bousson. He's still got 1 lap to go, but where can he do it? There's almost nowhere he can overtake here really.
Unless there's going to be an absolute monstrous send going into the final corner. I mean, if he's close enough, he could send it and just try and force Simon Edwards round the outside and just force him wide, but I don't think it's going to happen realistically. Unless there's going to be another potential move, it just needs to have some form. We are on the final lap now as we come through. So again, you can see there's the time that Buston makes up, but it just, you can actually see it. Simon Evans is having to brake going through turn 2, and I don't think Buston is. I think he's just got it getting away with a lift. So unless there's to be a send here, no, there's not. I just don't think it's going to be enough. Unfortunately, maybe if Buston had a couple of clicks lower wing, he's actually just dropped. Has he got on the grass? Has he had a spin?
Big mistake, huge mistake here, and he loses 2nd place as well. Paul LeMay gets through. Paul Crabb is going to be here as well, is he? No, he's a little bit further back, but Paul LeMay definitely gets through. Mike Bousson pushing for the race win there, and you can't blame him for going all out here on the final lap to try and win the race. There wasn't much else he could have done. However, it has unfortunately all unravelled for him. He will still be on the podium, but he is down in 3rd.
Well, he might have. It depends. He's got to make 0.7 of a second up. Now, in terms of pace, in terms of the laps between the two, Paul LeMay was lapping around about the same pace as Simon Edwards. So Mike Buston may struggle here. Maybe he's just used up too much of his tyres. Couple that with the fact he has got too much aero, perhaps. Don't really know, but Paul LeMay is looking in a pretty tidy 2nd place at the moment. He's got 0.7 of a gap. Only got a few more corners left to go. And then we'll see who does come across the line in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That gap, again, being a second or so. Something's going to have to happen here. But, after all that, Simon Edwards manages to finish ahead by 4 seconds. At the moment, he's going to got 2 more corners to go. And, what an absolute monster of a finish. Considering that what happened in the middle of the race, Mike Buston's gone in the pits, interestingly enough. That's an interesting one. I'm not too sure why, but ignoring that, Simon Edwards will take the race victory after all of that, all of what happened. Simon Edwards will take the victory. What an absolutely fantastic drive. It's not over yet, though, for a few more drivers. It's still got a couple of drivers to go, and it is going to be Colin Wynne leading this train here. Who's it going to be? Michael LeMay, Darrell Taylor. Darrell Taylor sends it down the inside. Colin Wynne may have got, I thought he was going to get involved there, but you got Martinez de la Cruz. He's going to try and do the cutback maneuver. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, though. No, he's not. So, Darrell Taylor takes P10. Michael LeMay, whoa, Michael LeMay still manages to stay 11th after that. And Martinez de la Cruz finishing in P12. Well, I mean, that was one way to finish the race, completely sideways, but there we are.
Oh yeah, I suppose it gets the job done. 11th place for him. Mike Pearson there getting in the pit lane as well, coming down towards the final lap. Not entirely sure what that's about. I do wonder though, because it is a shorter way round going through the pit lane here, whether he tried to overtake
Ah,
the car in front by doing that.
it was
Not
Schumacher.
entirely sure if that would have been allowed, but he went for it and he didn't overtake anyway, so it doesn't really matter. He will finish third, but yeah, I think he was just trying to overtake the car in front.
I mean, you try all that you can, I suppose. Unfortunately, yeah, didn't work out though. Unfortunately, not. But still, P3, respectable finishing position. Nevertheless, grid results. So your official results are up, and they'll be up in a moment. In fact, here they are. So we've got someone who has taken that race victory by 4 seconds, just over 4 seconds. Paul LeMay taking P2. Paul Crabb in third. Interesting. I wonder, perhaps, now there's a couple of things that could have happened here. So Mike Busson actually finishes in 14th. Now, my only thing that I could say there is he had some form of penalty, which is why he's finished there. Could be speeding in the pit lane, perhaps. It maybe as he did enter the pit lane, could have been, the stop and hold or something. Either way, we may see if we can have a chat with if he'd like to speak to us. I'd be kicking myself at the moment, so I would be quite frustrated. So I may not want to speak with anyone, but we'll see if he hops in. But either way, that inherits Paul. So Paul may obviously second with Paul Crabb in third. Graham Brown takes fourth. Dave Kirkman in fifth. Paul Clark in sixth. Richard Brown taking P7 with Colin Wynn in eighth. Daryl Taylor taking 9th with Michael LeMay in 10th. Sergio Martinez de la Cruz in 11th. Damien G 12th. Graham Brown taking P13. Mike Busson in 14th after that potential penalty. Martina Ward 15th. Guy Robertson 16th. Phil Glover in 17th. Phil Jocelyn in 18th. 10 laps down. And then Martin Booker, again, early retirement in P19. And then Scott Lear unable to make the start by the looks. Well, that certainly took an interesting. That was an interesting turn of events towards the end of that. So, if we can, I believe in a few moments we'll see if we can have a chat with a couple of drivers. We'll give it a couple of moments. Ewan, I mean, having a break from Canada where you weren't able to attend last week, I think this week it's certainly you've brought some good racing again.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to take any credit for that, but yeah, I mean, it was another good race. Here at Silverstone often does really. It's a great racing circuit. As I mentioned earlier, these cars are very suited to it, so it's not a big surprise. But the other thing that's not a big surprise, of course, Simon Edwards winning again, taking a big step forward in this championship here today, because obviously Martin Booker not finishing, John McCutcheon not starting, they're not going to be scoring any points. So his nearest rival that did score points today started the day 36 behind him. And he will have extended that margin once again. So Edwards homing in on becoming the first ever driver to win 3 championships at all, never mind 3 in a row here in the Radical Race Series, with 4 weeks to go, of course.
Absolutely, yes. Very, very true indeed. A couple more moments while we see if we can have a chat with anyone. So then we'll be wrapping up. Yeah, I mean, as Silverstone goes, the action from Silverstone, bear in mind this is a big circuit. This is a big circuit here for these cars. So it's always something where you can have there potentially is the opportunity for the racing to get and for the cars to get spread out relatively quickly. Although for this one, as we have seen, that was not the case. We do have someone I believe we're going to have a quick chat to, and it is going to be Dave Kirkman. So we'll see if we can get Dave in the booth. And in fact, here is Dave Kirkman. Now, Dave, P5 actually, it showed P6, but I believe Mike Busson had a penalty, so P5 overall. I mean, that was certainly a good race all round.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I haven't done any practice all week. Literally had 10 minutes practice before the race. So
he's showing off now, you see.
Yeah, I was lucky at the start because someone spun and I went the right way, and a lot of people went the wrong way. But yeah, I was quite pleased actually with that. I was really able to keep up with Paul Clark, and at one stage almost got past him. So yeah, that was a pretty good result for me. I think it was Mike got disqualified on the last lap. He had too many off circuits, I think. So
Oh
unlucky for him.
no!
But yeah, I think you've got to be careful that you don't go off track around here too much, because it's very easy to get those penalties. So yeah, I think his loss is my gain. So fifth, I'll take that any day.
Certainly so. Absolutely, very, very true indeed. But yeah, I mean, again, certainly a very, very good performance. And Lime Rock Park next. Obviously, Lime Rock Park's going to be an interesting race for sure. Something you're looking forward to?
So pretty much everyone in the league doesn't want to race there, but I'm happy to race there. I think it's going to be an interesting circuit, and it's probably going to be fairly instant full, really. But yeah, why not? Let's give it a go. I quite like this layout of Silverstone compared to the Legacy one that they're racing on the officials. So yeah, I'm quite pleased that we kind of accidentally swapped this week. But yeah, Lime Rock I'm happy with. I'll race anyway, really, apart from Northslide.
No, well, and hopefully Lime Rock Park will be as fruitful as today has been, if not more. Dave, thank you very, very much. We look forward to catching up with you next week. And yeah, very well done again on P5.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Okay. Okay, well, there we go. So, word there is the bird is the word that Mike Busson got disqualified on the last lap. Absolutely gutting. I would be so frustrated there. We've got a fair few drivers to run through, so I think we're going to be able to have, hopefully, let's have a chat with, if we can. We'll have a chat with Mike Busson. Mike, we've heard rumours that possible last lap DQ was what happened.
Hi, good evening. No, because I stupidly have my slowdown banner tucked away in the corner, I didn't even realise, because I was trying to race obviously Simon, that I had a 1 second slowdown.
Oh no! So it wouldn't even made. It wasn't even DQ in terms of instance. It was just the slowdown that got you.
Nope, I slammed my brakes on right at the last second, and no, not quick enough. I did, yeah. But we will go again next week, I'm sure.
Absolutely. How do you feel about Lime Rock?
In a Mazda, I don't mind it, but in a Radical, different kettle of fish, to be fair.
I'm sure you'll be absolutely. I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. It seems. I think Dave was actually saying before that it seems like he's the only person that's looking forward to racing it. Yeah, I mean, at Lime Rock Park, and then the complete opposite end of the scale, you got Monza straight after. You couldn't really have two tracks further apart there. And I'm guessing this. So Monza is the preferred one.
Definitely. No doubt I'll hopefully do well at Lime Rock if we can keep it clean and out of the way of other people, but Monza should suit me better, I reckon. So let's see what happens.
Indeed, absolutely. Let's, as you say, let's see. Right. Well, Mike, again, commiserations obviously to what happened, but again, we look forward to catching up with you next week and hopefully a better result at Lime Rock.
Yep, let's hope so. Thank you very much.
Take care, Mike.
Bye.
Mike Buston there. So there we go. Confirmation as to what actually happened. Certainly not ideal. A slowdown there. It's just, it's such a shame, and I really, really do feel sorry for. Mike Busson there. But a couple more drivers still left to go. We're gonna rattle through them pretty fast. One of which being Simon Edwards. Simon, congratulations on the win. I mean, you left it. Ewan was actually saying you left it a little bit last minute though, but it all worked out in the end.
That was a demonstration of high downforce and low downforce.
Yes,
setups,
we were definitely seeing that, and I think we mentioned a bit earlier on. This track, while it has got some fast corners, the problem is they are fast corners. So the downforce, while it does play a factor into some of the corners, majority of this track is so fast.
Yeah, I think if he hadn't made mistakes, it was still going to be difficult for me to get to the end. I think because of his first win, or possible first win, he was getting a bit nervous at the end there. So I was able to put some pressure on him, and he got his wheel in the grass, I think, and just lost traction, I think, and I got past him. And then something's happened to him. He thinks he didn't serve a slowdown because he hasn't got the window in his view, but I was gutted for him, and I felt a bit guilty passing him, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna not pass him.
No, well, certainly not. Certainly not. If a position comes up, then you'll absolutely, you'd absolutely want to take it. Lime Rock Park the next week. I can imagine you're not going to be running a low downforce.
No, and they're considering. I don't know how serious Chris is taking it, of maybe replacing it with something else.
Okay.
I'll have a practice of it, and we'll see how it is.
Well, it's going to be interesting racing either way. But yeah, we look forward to being able to catch up with you next week. Again, Simon, congratulations on the win, and we'll hopefully catch up with you next week.
Yes, thank you.
Take care. Now, Simon Edwards, let's have a quick chat we've got Paul Crabb. So let's bring Paul Crabb in. So we have congratulations. So inherited P3 at the end there due to Mike having that being disqualified or having that slowdown additive, not serving the penalty, or not serving a slowdown. I mean, overall, that must have been a pretty good race, I feel.
It was. It was quite exciting. Real shame for Mike. He deserved to be on the podium, if not to win it. But yeah, I had a really good race. I got a good start and was able to stay with Mike and Simon, and I had dreams of winning it until I hooked the curb and had a bit of a spin. Yeah.
And going forward into moving forward into a position where actually going into Lime Rock Park, we've heard some mixed reviews. I've asked everyone the same question. I'll ask the same as you. What do you think of Lime Rock Park? Are you looking forward to the race?
Oh, it's utter shite, Lime Rock Park. I hate it.
Well, there we go. That's answered that question there. That's put me in my place on that. So it's
just so boring.
I think Dave Kirk was the only person that's actually going to turn up for the race if it sticks with Lime Rock Park at this rate. I mean, so you got after that, then you got Monza. That seems to be the preferred one for everyone.
Oh, I love Monza. Yeah, whatever combination. I know it can be a bit of a disaster with the chicanes, but for some reason we don't have the chicanes, which is going to make it a bit weird. Yeah, so it's kind of like 3 corners and you're back onto a mega straight again. So I mean, Monza's good because you can actually draft past someone if you can keep with them in the twisty stuff. So it should be good fun.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Well, we look forward to catching up with you then, hopefully in similar or better circumstances. Paul, again, very well done for Heritage, overall for P3. And we'll catch up with you all be well next week.
Yep. Thank you, gentlemen.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
There we go. That was Paul Crabb there, again, inheriting P3. We have a brief moment to catch up with Phil Glover. Phil, again, P17 overall. Talk us through your race. You were getting involved with a little bit of racing on there, but what was how did that go for you?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened. It said I cut a corner, which I might have done, but I don't recollect it. And it asked me to go in to serve a penalty, which I've never had to do before, that I can remember. So I had to serve a 44-second penalty in the pits. So after that, I was out the running, really. Well, pretty much out the running anyway. I decided to run a low downforce. I'm not sure that was the right idea, but hey ho.
Well, like you said, we've got next week. Obviously, there's plenty more races still to go. I have asked everyone this. I'm going to ask the same question to yourself, Phil, what do you think of Live Rock Park for next week?
Lots of people don't like it, but because it was one of the free tracks you got when you kind of first sort of joined iRacing, I got quite a nice affinity to it. I quite like it. I tend to be better on the smaller, shorter tracks, things like the Canadian one. I forget what it's called, Mossport, isn't it? Things like that. I tend to be a bit better than rather than these longer tracks where the real experts just simply pull away from you.
Well, it's so like I said, by the sounds of it, it may only be you and Dave Kirkman that actually turn up to Lime Rock Park. But yeah, again, overall, there's always another week to go. So we look forward to catching up with you in Lime Rock Park. Obviously, as we always do, it's nice to have a catch up, and we'll hopefully have a catch up next week as well.
Yeah, well, at least Dave and I will have first and second sorted out.
Well, certainly so. That's at least you're guaranteed a podium if you're the only two there. So, absolutely, we may, let's say, maybe a slightly smaller grid for next week.
Okay, guys, thanks very much. Catch you later.
Take care, Phil. Well, time to wrap up, I believe. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure there. We look forward to catching up with you next week, same time. Do not miss it for Lime Rock Park, a track that seemingly the entire grid hates, bar two people. So this could very well be an interesting one, actually. It's always interesting to drive around a circuit you absolutely despise. And it's certainly going to shake things up, I would imagine so. But everyone, again, from myself and Euron O'Leary, thank you, as always, for supporting the channel, supporting the stream, and supporting the series. We will see you next week. But as always, make sure you take care and stay safe.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.